Okay, what's going on, boys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to another video. Now, in today's video, we're going to go over one, I suppose you can say it's a good aspect to implement, but one thing that probably costs a lot of players and they don't actually realize it because they try to emulate what the pro players do. And that's that one thing. And you know what it is? It's teammate contain. Now, teammate contain is probably the one thing I would say that costs a lot of players. Now, just for reference, in this video clip, just to show you example, because these are more pure examples. My teammate contain button is the R1 button, but by default, it should be RB, okay? So just remember that. For me, it's circle, but for you, it should be R1. You don't actually need to use teammate contain contrary to belief. In fact, if you're part of my Patreon series, FIFA School, you can watch the Division 10 to Elite Division series. I never use a teammate contain button at all during this entire series, all the way from Division 10 to Elite Division, because you don't need it. I even use, for example, a 100k team, and then I use, for example, like a 1.5 million coin team. I showed both of them to show you that you don't need to use it. So it's the biggest misconception that you need to use teammate contain. Now, on the higher end, does it make sense? Yes. On the higher end, it definitely does make sense. But the problem is, on the middle end, a lot of players, when they use it, they just overuse it. And what they do is, the number one thing I see very, very commonly is simply like this. Let's say, for example, you're inside the box. People, they panic and then they hold the teammate contain button. Now, what actually happens is that if you've got a back four like this, let's say your opponent's got two strikers. By using teammate contain, you bring one of your center backs out of position. And what it does is actually breaks your defensive line. You end up having a defensive line like this, and you end up leaving a big gap for one of your opponents to just walk into, especially opponent's AI to walk into. And B, what it does is when one guy comes out, it pushes your defense more narrow to kind of cover up for that player that's out of position. So you don't want to actually use teammate contain to actually come out and be aggressive. You want to use it to aid your defense. So for example, I'm going to show you this clip over here. These are just examples of correct uses as opposed to incorrect uses. So the reason why I show this is because a lot of top tier pro players, they overuse it. But when they overuse it, they know. So what happens is a lot of players, they see, okay, you know what, Tex, my favorite pro player, I see Tex when he's playing, he uses teammate contain with this guy and then he applies pressure together. Now, that is completely fine, you can do that, but the problem is if Tex or that pro player, whoever that is, makes that mistake, they have the ability to switch or recover in time. So it's not just random, it's a very calculated decision. They know if they get the ball back, they can counter attack, but they're comfortable with recovering. And I think what happens is that it's like kind of like CSGO. I'm trying to learn to become a better player in CSGO. I like to say I'm a decent player, but I want to become like a really, really good player. And a lot of these pro players, they do things and to outsmart their opponents, it makes sense. But in FIFA, a lot of these things do not. People think this is the right way to defend. And if you use teammate contain that plays out of position, you're in trouble. So you can see, for example, like here, I don't use it. I just naturally defend normally. And then when I use teammate contain, you're going to see over here, I use it just to bring that defender in position, so I can use a slide cycle. So what I'm doing effectively with this guy over here is I'm using teammate contain just to bring him closer towards the ball carrier. And then watch this. The biggest mistake I see also is a lot of players, they control the player from behind and they rely on teammate contain to control the defense. It should never, ever be like this. If you ever want to use teammate contain, my best advice is don't use it with your back four. That's for starters. And if you do use it with your CDM to apply pressure. Or let's say, for example, your opponent has the ball over there. Use your CDM, one of your CDMs, to go and attack the aggressor while you run back with the other CDM. So that's the way that I'll do it. So let AI support you, but don't rely on it. See, a lot of people here have over-reliance on this AI, but you can see, watch, I let him come close, I switch the ball to him, and then I go for the slide tackle. So effectively, I'm not relying on him, or not relying on AI to do any miracles. I'm just using him to come closer. I'll show you a couple of more examples over here, right? Let's say, for example, here the ball is down the wing. You can see now I'm in this kind of an awkward situation. I've got a lot of players to mark inside the box. Thankfully, it's a 3 versus 3. And you can see, watch what I do. I use teammate contain to aid. Now, how do I do this to aid? Now, I know the main danger area is this guy. So I control this. If I use teammate contain with this guy, what's going to happen? He's going to run forward. The pass is going to be open. He's going to score. Bam, I'm in trouble. So I let the guy on the wing get close as I can. And then I offload the responsibility. So I switch to the center back. My job now is to man mark this player. I let AI continue to use teammate contain. And then I man mark the striker. Do you see that? So teammate contain, don't forget, teammate contain apply pressure. They're not going to tackle for you. If your opponent walks into you, then you will get the ball. And you can see, for example, here, literally, the only reason why I got the ball is because he walked into me. But the benefit of using teammate contain here is that I'm stopping him from making a cutback, which is the main danger area. And if he does decide to turn in, my player is there to apply pressure. If I don't use teammate contain, then this player is far away and he can just run inside the box and then he can force a 1v1. He can basically go over here and he's got two players and I got to make a choice. But I use teammate contain again to aid me. And that's why I say just use it incrementally. Don't overuse, don't hold it. Just use it. Okay, you know what? I'm going to use it to support my play. Another example over here. You can see the ball gets played as a through ball. Now, I want to do two things. I've got a choice. I don't have to use teammate contain. But I can either make a choice here by switching to my defender and running back. But here what I want to do is I want to close him down. If he does take a touch, he does beat me. I am ready to select my defender, my centre back. As you can see, I'm already got one red card. So I'm ready. But I want to apply pressure to the ball carrier, as you can see. And you can see with Fred, at the same time, I am running back. Do you see that? And then watch, I don't hold teammate contain again. This is the mistake people make. When the pass gets played, don't forget, when you press the L1 button or you switch players, the teammate contain indicator also. So if you switch, for example, let's say to this player, then the teammate contain indicator can switch as well. So here you can see I press the L1 button, or here you can see actually I run back instead rather. And as you can see, when the ball moves, the teammate contain indicator, look, it changes. You can see, for example, like here to here. But you see what a lot of players they do is they keep holding teammate contain here. And while the opponent passes, they still use teammate contain. And that's what makes this defender then run out of position. And that's how they get beat with the through ball or they get beat down the wing. So do you see how it actually negatively impacts? That's why I say don't use teammate contain unless you're, and people say I'm trying to be patronizing. I am genuinely not. I'm just telling you honestly and straight. Unless you know how to defend properly, unless you're in the elite division and you're 1.8k skill rating, you don't need to use teammate contain. I'm telling you, you don't need to use it. Even when I record my videos, I don't use it deliberately. Of course, I use it when I play seriously, but you don't need to use it. There's a reason why I keep things basic, because don't overcomplicate things when you don't need to. And you can see here, my key way of knowing when to stop using it, as soon as the pass has been made, I let go of the circle button. Don't forget, teammate contain would be R1 or RB for you. And then once I'm here, as you can see with Fred, I run from here to here, and I use teammate contain to apply pressure, and then I cut the passing lane out to the striker. I'm ready to recover, and that's how I apply pressure. So you can see what here I use. I go man mark the passing lane. I use teammate contain to close him down. I then run back with Fred. So I'm doing two things at once here. And then as you can see here with Fred, my objective is to run in front of the strike. So I use that. And then I use teammate contain over here. Now I'm ready also with the teammate contain button. If, for example, he turns and he goes down the wing, I'm ready to press the L1 button and switch him to defend manually. He doesn't do that. And then I realize, okay, I don't need to use teammate contain anymore. I then use Fred. I then run up to cover the space. I see there's a player there again. I don't use teammate contain. Why? If I use teammate contain, he's going to run through ball. That's I'm in trouble. So I leave teammate contain. I just run back and I play defensively. So you can see in these examples, maybe they're a bit of an extreme examples, but you can see how I use it to basically help me get the ball back, but nothing too elaborate. Same thing here. This is from the attacking position. You can see here when I get the ball here, I do a fake shot. I end up getting the ball intercepted. I end up getting the ball again. The ball gets intercepted again. So you can see what I do here is I use teammate contain to apply pressure, and I use a double press. So you can see here, I lose the ball. Okay, I've lost the ball. Great. Then what I do is I run with Salah. I then switch to another player, and I use teammate contain, so that way I can mark two players at the same time. I can then, so I'm just going to move my camera out of the way so you can see. I use teammate contain to mark this guy, and then I also go and mark the second passing lane where the ball's going to be. And that is how I win the ball. Do you see that? So I go and apply pressure with teammate contain, and I go and get the ball with aggressors. That is how you basically get the ball back and do two things at once. So again, it's used to supplement your gameplay, but not used to defend on it. And the final example I want to show you, just this one over here, is an example of using teammate contain with a CDM. So you can see here I'm running back with my CDM, and you can see here I use teammate contain to apply pressure to the ball carrier. And as you can see, the teammate contain button, it then runs out. Now this is a bit of a newbie way of defending, but I want to show you this clip deliberately because if you're just getting used to teammate contain and you're really not sure how to use it, this is the best way to learn how to use it. So whenever you get the ball, run back with the main CDM and control the attacker. Use teammate contain. Now again, this is a very newbie way. I'm not saying you should play like this, but just so you get the grasp of how it works, you need to understand what the limitations are teammate contain. The only way you can do that is I can show you, but you need to use it inside your game. You say use teammate contain. Now what I would normally do here at this point is I would normally switch to the player. For example, like here, press the L1 button and apply pressure. But you can see here the teammate contain button has run out, and you can see, look here, I can then mark the aggressor or the most dangerous area, and I can use teammate contain to apply pressure. Now again, what I will do over there is I'll manually switch this player there and try to intercept the ball. So you can see I use teammate contain to bring the player closer, but I let myself do everything manually. But I'm just holding it here just to show you an example of how it works. You can see here I use teammate contain to bring him forward a little bit, and then I let go because I don't want him to go anymore, because if he turns me, he's in behind. And then he rotates the ball again. I run back with my CDM. I then hold the line. So that is the way you use teammate contain. I just wanted to show you this video to show you don't use teammate contain with your back four. Don't run out with them, but use it to aid your play and make sure you're controlling the main danger area. Don't let AI control the danger area. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget, this is sponsored by FIFA School Series, patreon.com/NealGuides. Link is down below in the description for our FIFA School Series. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and of course, I'll catch you next time. Peace out.